but one of my hopes and dreams is for there to be like a document that every individual like yourself has with what your budget is and how it's spent. Like everybody's salary who deals with you, like your case manager, your direct support workers, the boss of your case manager, how much the agency gets of your Medicaid money, all the people that dip their hands, their greasy little fingers into the Medicaid pot that hangs over your head. I want every person to have complete transparency over their budget.
This episode of Nick Speaks is brought to you by the Columbus Restorative Massage and Wellness Studio. At Columbus Restorative, every session is designed to restore balance to the body and mind. From easing stress and tension to supporting overall wellness, their team provides more than just a massage. It's a complete restorative experience. It's about truly restoring your body and mind so you can show up as your best self every single day. Whether you're stressed, sore, or simply need time to reset, their team knows exactly how to help you feel renewed. And listeners of the Nick Speaks podcast can enjoy 20% off their next visit by booking online and using the code SPEAKUP at checkout. That's SPEAKUP, SPEAKUP. Take time to recharge, renew, and restore with Columbus Restorative Massage and Wellness Studio. Now let's begin today's episode of Nick Speaks.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this brand new installment of the Nick Speaks podcast, the podcast dedicated to the disabled community, where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud about the issues that matter to the disabled the most. I am your host, Nick Comstock. I am so glad you guys have joined me on this Tuesday morning. I'm so glad to be here with another great episode. You guys, my mantra for this podcast and really for my life as a person with a disability is speak up, speak out, and speak loud. And today we are going to be speaking up, speaking out, and speaking loud about an organization that I believe is really not using their money for what they should be using it for. And one of my former guests brought this to my attention. And so she is back today, and I am so happy to have her. But before we get into that, I want to give some show notes as usual. You guys should know by now that I've come out with a book, Trailblazing and Transforming Entrepreneurial Stories of People with Disabilities. You guys, please check that book out. It's in paperback, soon to be on audio. You can get it on your Kindle device, or you can download the Kindle app on your phone and get it that way. Please get that book. Read the 12 great stories that are in there. I'm chapter 5, Breaking the Mold, probably because most people in wheelchairs break things. Also, please take time, if you would be so inclined, to support this podcast by going to my GoFundMe, and whatever you can give, $5, $10, to help me with my monthly podcasting expenses, as well as helping me trying to get a handicap accessible van for the near future. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, without further ado, we are going to talk about this today. You guys remember when everybody was freaking out about Doge? Because everybody was like, well, at least the left was. I wasn't, and my guest wasn't, but everybody was like, oh my God, he's taking all of our money away. He's doing this. Well, people in the disabled community, some people in the disabled community got smart and said, we need to do our own Doge investigation. And today I am with Julia Bramwell, who was here before on an episode in the past. And I am so excited she's back. And she decided to be a part of Disability Doge here in New Jersey or Arizona. I don't know where the company is based. I think it's New Jersey, right?
Well, it's not even a company. It's just individuals who are taking matters into their own hands, and we're calling ourselves Disability Doge, but we're really just like individuals, kind of like Batman. Like
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. But the agency that you kind of did your self investigation in, that's in New Jersey, right?
well, the March of Dimes organization is located in Virginia and it's a national organization. I'll introduce all that. You can tell me, yeah, tell me if you want to
Yeah,
introduce any more or if you want me to jump in.
yeah, no. So we can get started. Julia was one of my most popular episodes when your episode first came out, and a lot of people enjoyed it. So I'm glad to have you back, Dr. Julia Bramwell. How are you?
Wonderful. Yeah. So I'll just reintroduce myself. I'm a medical doctor. I live in New Jersey, but today I'm here not wearing a medical doctor hat. I'm just speaking as a concerned citizen. And I am the parent of three adult children, and one of them is a disabled adult man with cerebral palsy. So that is why I am interested in all things related to disability rights and advocacy and the infrastructure for disabled people. So I can start with sharing my screen and jump into the slide presentation. Okay, so I have a series of slides. I chose to do an expose of March of Dimes. And the question is March of Dimes really helping moms and babies or just funding itself? Let's take a closer look. That's the title of my slide presentation. And just a little background on Disability Doge. It stands for Disabilities of Government Efficiencies, which is a nonsense name. We just wanted to use the word Doge because it implies that we're looking for any type of disability related organizations that are wasting money or misallocating money, not using grants or donations appropriately. So a Disability Doge started in Arizona just a few months ago because a woman who has a spinal cord injury, Gina Shu, she noticed that the Arizona Spinal Cord Injury Association was possibly taking in a lot of grant money, but it was very difficult to obtain any type of services. So like if somebody needed a shower chair, for example, it was not available through the organization, or they made you like jump through hoops, fill out tons of paperwork, and it was not really helpful for people with spinal cord injuries. So she decided to look into their finances, and she found a lot of suspicious financial behavior. So I was inspired by that, and I made a New Jersey branch, which I'm the only member so far, but I welcome all people from any state, anywhere to jump into this. So I chose March of Dimes because I gave birth to three premature babies. They were at 28 weeks. They were 12 weeks early. They had a lot of medical problems. One was severely physically disabled, and I received no assistance from March of Dimes. Yet every year in the mail, I would get a pamphlet asking for donations for their and I always thought it was so ironic that they're asking me for a donation when I was like working two jobs. I was like, exhausted, exasperated, overwhelmed, at my wits' end. Just, my family dynamic was completely devastated by our our situation with premature babies and medical problems and so on. So of course I did not donate to March of Dimes. I would just throw the little pamphlet in the garbage, and I thought, gee, what a waste of money that is. So
Obviously they're marketing targeted families like you. So I'm surprised that they didn't reach out to you and say, hey, we're an organization that helps with, premature births, or we try to help prevent it, which I think is laughable because nobody can do that except God. So I'm surprised that they didn't try to reach out to you. Is there a March of Dimes branch in New Jersey where you live?
There may be, but they never reached out to me. Have never reached out to them. It wasn't anything in my mind at all. I was so busy just doing life that I didn't, reach out for any type of resources. So I don't know if that's on me, my fault that I didn't reach out, but they certainly did not, come looking for me. Just to review, so the March of Dimes, it was founded in 1938 to fight polio. And now they claim to support maternal and infant health. And their mission is to end preventable maternal risks, preterm birth, and infant death. And their logo says March of Dimes, healthy moms, strong babies. So that is their mission. And we'll visit their website and see, what that looks like.
I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me okay? Okay, because I'm trying to ask a question. I don't know if you heard me or not.
No, I didn't.
Well, they came looking for you. What they came looking for is your money.
Yes, indeed. They knew I existed because they did have my name and my mailing address. And somehow they knew that I would be interested in premature babies, right? That I was a NICU mom, basically. So
I don't think that's your fault for not reaching out to them. I think that's their fault, and it's kind of slimy, to say here's a pamphlet about our services, but we're not going to reach out to you any other time.
Yes. So what I did was I looked at their website for tax form 990, and this is the tax form that nonprofit organizations fill out, and it's public information. So I analyzed the year 2022 and 2023 because 2024 is not yet available. They're probably going to file it late after October 15 deadline. So 2023 is the most recent tax return. I put it through ChatGPT to with the prompt to determine if there was any financial behavior that was consistent with lip service, meaning that the way they spend their money is not congruent with what their mission is. And then I also manually reviewed the tax return 2022 and 2023 to see if there was anything that jumped out at me. And of course, this was labor intensive because each tax form is like 70 to 75 pages long. And my background is I'm not an accountant. I'm not a financial expert. I'm just a concerned citizen. So what I discovered, I'm going to go through my slides kind of like relatively faster so that we can go to the website for March of Dimes so that we can kind of like compare, like what I found and what their website says. So the March of Dimes annual income for 2023, that's in 1 year, they made $107.8 million. 92% of that money came from public donations and grants. So about up to 10 million of that money is directly from the US government. And the rest is like raised from like March of Dimes. It's like these walks that they have nationwide. And they just have like a monthly donation program. And their social media is constantly pleading for donation money. They are registered in 40 states, which just means that they can collect money from people in 40 different states. And they are exempt from federal taxes as a nonprofit organization. And this income statement is only for the national headquarters. Even though they have local branches, they are financially completely separate. So to define lip service, this is what I am looking for when we're doing disability Doge. Lip service means saying you care, but not taking real action. It's being a hypocrite, basically. March of Dimes uses emotional marketing with pictures of moms and babies, but lacks real support. And this image is taken right off of the March of Dimes website, and they love to just use these very emotionally charged images of mom, babies, premature babies, and also a lot of like racial, emphasis on disparities, which are true, and they do exist, and they emphasize that disparity with every opportunity. So the first factoid is the executive composition. So the CEO of March of Dimes made $439,000 in salary plus additional benefits. 82 employees earn over $100,000, and $6.9 million was paid to contractors, independent contractors. So those contractors were responsible for mostly for marketing and for fundraising. So just they spend a majority of their money in terms of like salary and employee on trying to make more money, which makes sense. They're just trying to feed themselves. And this very fine print that nobody can see is just a screenshot of the financial form, just as a reference, to prove, that these are just facts. These are just the numbers speaking for themselves.
Do you know how much money they need to operate every month by any chance?
I don't know like how much money they actually need, but based on their salaries, I think they're doing just fine.
If $439,000 is going to their CEO, and then 82 employees make over $100,000, where do they get the money to do all this great stuff that they say they do?
They don't. And it goes into their paychecks. It does not go to where they say it's supposed to go. So that's exactly what this presentation is about. It's showing the numbers to show that, what they say they do does not match what they actually do. So onward. So actually you're asking about operating costs. So this is, operating costs for 1 year, not for every month. I mean, you could divide it by 12, but operating costs. So 46.7 million goes to salaries and benefits. 14.8 million goes for printing and postage. That's like those pamphlets that I used to throw in the garbage. 0.1 million goes to consultants and legal fees, 5.5 million for fundraising events, and 1.4 million for travel and conferences. So that's their operating expenses. It's very heavy on just salaries and benefits, and then the other stuff is all fundraising related. Printing, postage, consultants, fundraising, travel, conferences. So this slide is where the money does not go. So that's your question, right? What are they not doing with the money? So only 9.6 million or 10% of their money goes for grants where they're giving money to other entities to achieve their mission, supposedly. So of that 9.6 million, 2.2 million is sent abroad with no clear explanation. This screenshot again is right off of their tax form 990 that 1.6 million went to Europe, including Iceland and Greenland. And it's just labeled as a research and medical. And then 110,000 went to the Middle East and North Africa. So
they need it, but not the people that you say you support in the US.
It did not. So that 2.2 million left the country and went elsewhere, even though there's plenty of need, of course, in the United States. And no direct financial help went to families in the NICU or in maternity deserts. A maternity desert means like where there's a lack of medical care.
For their medical visits, because medical insurance won't pay for it after a certain point.
Correct. I mean, we'll go to their website. They do say they have like their own like mobile vans where they offer medical care, but let's say you don't go to their medical van and you're, because it's not in your area and you're going just for medical care somewhere else. Well, you're on your own with your, co-pays and co-insurance and all that stuff. Yes. They do not help anyone individually. They only give money to other organizations. And like I said, only 10% of their annual revenue goes to other organizations. The rest they keep under their own roof in their own pockets.
Well, at least they live up to their name.
Yes, they do. Appropriately named. Exactly. So, marketing versus reality. A March of Dimes promotes moms and babies, but provides no direct aid. And then I had highlighted my favorite expense in 2023, in quotes, my favorite expense, that they paid $322,000 to Stacy D. Stewart, which is, I guess, a former employee, for her severance, meaning they parted ways and they said, adios, here's $322,000 to not work for us. So please
Wow.
give me a severance of $322,000. I'll be so happy not to work.
Play your cards right, you would never have to work again.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Life is expensive, but it's still a pretty good chunk for a nonprofit organization.
Yeah, to give one of their employees say bye-bye.
Yes. And then they have a pension liability of 52.4 million. So the pension liability means that since this organization has been around since 1938, they have hundreds, thousands, I don't know how many people that are retired from March of Dimes that are collecting a pension. And at some point, the balance shifted where they have more people collecting pension than paying into a pension. So right now it's not sustainable. Like they owe more money to their pension receivers than they actually bring in. So I'm not sure how they're going to resolve that, nor do I care. But anyway, they have a very generous pension program. So in conclusion, March of Dimes is a self-serving machine with misleading messaging, and only 10 cents of every dollar goes towards services. It does not go to any individuals, and it's very vague what it actually goes towards. And the things that I did find that it actually does go towards, I have a different opinion of whether it's meaningful and helpful. So at Doge, New Jersey, we demand transparency, equity, and true support for families. And we're going to visit the website. I just want to finish. This is the last slide. The suggested fixes for March of Dimes to improve my opinion or to improve like their rating basically is to hire people affected by poor birth outcomes, pay their leadership based on community need. So if like, they're, kind of, advertising the fact that there's poverty and racial disparity, then maybe they should pay themselves accordingly, with that in mind, and eliminate vague marketing and fund actual families. Stop foreign grants that 2.2 million should just stay in the US, period, because you'll see like according to March of Dimes, the US report card for maternal fetal health is a letter grade D. Like the United States has very bad health outcomes related to mothers and babies. And to increase direct giving to at least 65% of revenue. And this 65% is based on other organizations that give ratings to nonprofit organizations. There's like different like police type of organization, like kind of similar to Doge, rating that if a nonprofit gives away at least 65% of their revenue towards their mission, that they are considered a good nonprofit. And if they actually give away 85%, they're considered very good. And currently, March of Dimes is only at 10%. And then finally, to considering hiring more people of color on the board of trustees and operating officers, since one of March of Dimes platforms is to eliminate racial disparity. So I think they should practice what they preach.
Well, the reason why while you're doing that, I'll say the reason why I wanted to do this episode is because I can guarantee you that agencies just like March of Dimes that are out here supposed to be helping folks like me, like your son, they're doing the same thing with their agency's money. You know, all these agencies, especially with people with disabilities involved, I've been told often I'm at a range 9 as it pertains to getting my services. I can get up to $500,000 a year for my services. And technically, because I spoke with the guy that actually wrote the program that I'm on, he said, Nick, once you reach that range 9, there really is no funding cap. And, you know, I'm told constantly, and have been told several times, Nick, just because you receive $500,000 a year doesn't mean we spend $500,000 a year. We have to be fiscally responsible. Great. So the government wants to be fiscally responsible when it comes to the services of people with disabilities, but we can send millions of dollars overseas to wars that we shouldn't be involved in, to illegal immigrants, and we can provide phones, hotels, and thousands of dollars in food stamps. All the while, people like me only receive $63 a month on food stamps.
Yeah, it's infuriating. I'm with you. And one of my I don't know how I'm going to achieve this, but one of my hopes and dreams is for there to be like a document that every individual like yourself has with what your budget is and how it's spent. Like everybody's salary who deals with you, like your case manager, your direct support workers, the boss of your case manager, how much the agency gets of your Medicaid money, all the people that dip their hands, their greasy little fingers into the Medicaid pot that hangs over your head. I want every person to have complete transparency over their budget, because my suspicion is that it's not spent with integrity, meaning you deserve services. Like if you want to get extra physical therapy, or if you want to have entertainment budget, or if you need, like a better food budget, you should be able to get that. And your direct care workers who are paid, I think, very poorly for doing a difficult job deserve to be paid better. But yet everyone else who, who handles that budget, they are doing just fine. They are getting their little paycheck, generous paycheck, your head based on your hard life, your disabled life. So I want there to be that kind of what is the word? Like accountability. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That type of accountability on the budget. I think that's going to be my next project, is to see how I can get that information. I'm sure that the people who have that information are going to resist and hold that information like like rabid raccoons, so that we don't get that information, because I'm sure that if we were privy to that information, we would be very upset, with how wasteful that how wasteful the money is spent. But if we all just advocate, whoever's listening to this show, ask, your case manager, ask whoever is, handling, has access to Medicaid, the Medicaid money for your child or for you, how can I get my budget? I want to see exactly how it is spent. And if it's all not being spent, and if there's, quote, extra money left over, then I have many needs where you can spend that budget, on more therapies, more entertainment. When I say entertainment, I mean people who are disabled, they do nothing. They stay home and they go to community bingo. That's for the disabled community. That's their, quote, entertainment.
Or day programs where you sit around and you watch TV all day, or
Yeah.
you make
You make some crafts and you cook a little bit, which is very important. But my point is that there's waste in Medicaid, and I want to know where it is and where it goes. And that information right now is not accessible. It is a big fat secret, and it shouldn't be that way.
And we can talk about this too, because, we're going to go to March of Dimes website in a little bit, which infuriates me even more because their website is absolutely gorgeous. If they spent half the money on the people that they say they serve or they try to help that they do on their website, I mean, they could be rock stars. I truly believe they need to change their messaging, because there's no way that they can help prevent premature birthing.
Yeah. I was researching how to prevent CMV, and I think I was looking at it in the pre-call with you, and it said some kind of nonsense. I was like, don't kiss your baby on the lips, or like, I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
CMV because somebody kissed him on the lips? I don't think so.
I don't know. My mom contracted CMV after she became pregnant with me. So maybe she kissed my dad on the lips too passionately or something. I don't know. That's weird.
It's a nonsense, but CMV is a very common virus. Like I would say 90% of people have it. It's like many viruses. They're ubiquitous.
They're disabled. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So I'm sorry. So before I go to their website, I just put up their Facebook. This is totally random. Today is August 18, and I didn't even look at this, but this is August 15, a post from March of Dimes. And they have pictures of this nice family holding a baby. And you would think that somehow they helped this family. This was my initial impression. Oh, maybe like they helped them with their premature baby or something. And then I read this long caption, and what happened was that they had a miscarriage. This husband and wife, they had a miscarriage, and then they got pregnant again. And after they got pregnant again and had a successful birth and baby, they donated money on the Giving Day, it's called August 21, to the March of Dimes in memory of the baby that they miscarried. So it's upside down. Instead of March of Dimes helping this family that suffered miscarriage and heartache, and they were like, you had a miscarriage. You give us money in memory of your, your dead baby. I mean, and that's their advertisement, to get more money. I mean, it's just absurd. It's just
That's to me, that is exploitation, flat out. I mean, if the couple wanted to do that, God bless them, and sorry for your loss. But to put that on a website and say, look, this family lost their baby, and they donated money for us. Well, what did they donate money to you for? What are you using that money for? Because I'm going to say this number again, $439,000 to the CEO and 82 other employees that are supposedly leadership make over $100,000. So why did you need that money from that couple who had a devastating loss?
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
think of all
That
the
is the
things.
question of the hour.
Yeah, think of all the things that March of Dimes could do. They could provide boxes of diapers for premature babies. They could provide baby clothes. They could provide baby formula.
Yeah.
They could provide medical classes for parents so that they know what's going on with their premature baby and what to expect and what to do if certain things happen. But they're not doing any of that.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I invite anyone from March of Dimes to come on this program and defend what you do.
Mhm.
We're not saying that you're a terrible agency. We're not saying that. What we're simply saying is, where is your $107 million budget going? What else is it going for other than to pay your top dogs?
Mhm. Yeah. So, I'm on the March of Dimes website now. I'm not sure if I'm sharing.
Yeah, yeah, you are. I can see it.
Okay. So yes, like you said, they have a beautiful website. It's a rabbit hole, meaning it has like so many pages. You just keep going and going. And they have like these little videos of moms and babies. They state their vision, their mission, that the US is facing an urgent maternal and infant health crisis. But together with our partners and supporters, we can end preventable maternal health risks and death, end preventable preterm birth, and close the health equity gap. So I am just going to,
March of Dimes, you can't prevent death. You can't prevent it.
I mean, yeah, it depends on what it is, I guess, due to. I don't know. I mean, if I don't know. My point is like they can't, like they can try to medically improve situations. I'm all for that and do research, and but it has to be meaningful and impactful. And um right now it's not clear that it's meaningful and impactful, and
That's not clear.
disproportionately it goes to support itself and not to the mission. Let's see. About us, we can go real quick. I'm blocking the photo, but I like this stock photo. It has this man in a wheelchair, it's their leadership, and this Black woman, and then the actual leadership they have. Of course, they use a lot of like racial images, and then if you go to their actual leadership, I don't know if they have employed anybody who has been affected by disability due to adverse maternal fetal outcomes. And then I'm not going to count people. They do have some people of color, but
Where's the guy in a wheelchair?
no guy in a wheelchair that I know of. That's like, yeah,
Yeah,
stock
but
photo, misleading. Um,
Table.
yes. So they like to use like, all the the catchy imagery, I call it, to show how diverse and how equitable they are. This is their board of trustees. Just, you know,
And that looks like a guy in a wheelchair, but it's not. The one,
no, he's just sitting in a chair
yeah.
and just that's it. That's all I'm gonna say about that. And then if we go, let's say, to a different tab, our work. Okay, our work. So let's say research. I don't know. I'm just randomly. So what kind of research do they do?
It doesn't look by much. I mean, $107 million, and most of it is done. Most of it goes to salaries.
Yes, only 10% is spent on where they have that menu, what we do. Only 10% goes on what we do, and it's not clear what they do. So I'm just random, like I haven't read every nook and cranny of their website, but let's see. Scientists, March of Dimes data, preterm birth research. So other people use their research and their website, it has a lot of writing on it, but it doesn't actually say anything meaningful. Like it's just like, it just looks nice, but there's no like substance to it. So I'm just like randomly reading. Scientists at the March of Dimes Prematurity Research Center at the University of California, San Francisco have submitted a paper detailing their dream challenge in which computational scientists from all over the world used publicly available microbiome data from across the PRC network and beyond to make predictive models on preterm birth, a testament to the organization's ardent belief in open science. Okay, I have no idea what that means, but okay.
It's like speak English. I mean, I'm a smart guy, but I had no idea what you just said there.
Yeah. So then it goes on and on. Okay, so let's just try something else. Let's just go to a different page and see if we can understand what they're saying. Let's go to public health data reports. What we do. Okay. So again, cute baby, pictures, data and statistics gives us the foundation and power to make change. March of Dimes collects and analyzes maternal and infant health data along with program data to highlight the current state of the health crisis and drive informed research and policy changes. So their data says that 150,000 babies were born in maternity care deserts. 35% U.S. counties are designated as maternity care deserts, and 5.6 million women live in counties with limited maternity care access. Wonderful. So it means there's a lot of need. They're actually helping. I don't know. They're just collecting the data. Yes, we know that healthcare in the United States sucks. Thank you for reminding us.
But with all those numbers, so tell me, March of Dimes, why do over 80 of your staff members make a salary of $100,000 or more? And more importantly, why does your CEO make a salary just as recent as $439,000?
Yeah, I would be okay with those salaries if they had some kind of phenomenal project that cured maternal fetal health problems and prevented preterm birth and prevented, the miscarried baby. I'd be all for those salaries. But so far they're saying that the US has a letter D and they've been doing this for decades. The March of Dimes, it's not like they just started a few years ago, and like they've been around for decades, and apparently what they're doing is not that effective. But yet on the bottom right, they always, have this like thing that you can click to donate money. $70. Donate, 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 donate. Buttons everywhere. So okay, so they keep track of statistics, and the statistics are very bad. But I don't know. I don't know if that is justified. I feel like there's any type of health insurance has access to statistics because they can just analyze that data from health, like the super bills or whatever that doctors submit. So I'm just going to randomly go to a different page. So I'm going to Mom Baby Action Network.
One of the things that upsets me about this whole thing, not only with March of Dimes, but with other agencies like, county boards and state funded Medicaid programs, is that, I've spoken with, people that have been in case management and caregivers for years, and they'll say, Nick, it's a good thing that you're a self advocate because you find out about these services. And even though the case managers know, they're told not to tell you about the services because then it saves the county or the state money. They'll only give you so much of your services that you deserve just to save them money. Now, I would hope that that's not true, but honestly, it rings more true than it does not.
Mhm. I would say it's true because I'll just give you like my personal experience with my son, Philip. He doesn't mind me talking about him. When we were in New Jersey, Philip had a DDD budget of $36,000. And we were like, wow, that's a lot of money. Like we can get, personal training and stretching, all the physical body work type of things that he really needs. So like just to backtrack, Philip has cerebral palsy. He's full-time in a manual wheelchair. He's contracted. He has no balance. He's he's got muscle atrophy. He has a shunt. He has rods in his back from scoliosis. He's completely locked up from his neck to his butt. He needs a lot of physical body work in order just to maintain himself. And going to physical therapy through insurance is difficult because you only have a certain number of visits and you get kicked out of physical therapy if you're not going to start walking and so on. So we pay out of pocket for any type of, like physical body work. So like personal training, stretching, we spend a lot of money to maintain Philip, basically. So we thought that we could use this budget because, they say the goal when it's person centered, that they cater the services to what that individual needs. So not just what you need, but like if it helps you to get employment or live in the community better, then they will pay for it. And if you maintain Philip's body in a healthy manner, it allows him to stay healthier and to be more productive as a worker in the system to generate tax dollars himself. So by keeping his body limber and healthy, you are enabling him to live in the community and be a productive citizen. So we of course submitted our invoices, our receipts. We did all the paperwork. And of course, everything was rejection, rejection, rejection. They would not pay for any of these needs. In the end, after doing this for a year, out of that $36,000 budget, about $1,200 or so was spent. And that was for transportation. We were able to get reimbursement for some mileage, for driving for the services that we paid for ourselves. So they saved, let's say $35,000. And with that savings, I'm sure that the case manager or whoever the people were that were in charge of that budget, they maybe, I don't know, got a bonus for quote saving money. They were able to like make the statistic for the state of New Jersey that they saved Medicaid dollars. Meanwhile, the individuals, Philip and myself, we were out, like hundreds or thousands of dollars because we truly need this. It's not a luxury. And we got tons of frustration because when you're dangling a budget, but ultimately it's lip service, that budget is not meant to be used because every type of appeal, every type of plead, every type of doctor's note that we submitted, everything they have a rebuttal for. They have, you want personal training and stretching? Well, we have physical therapy for that. Actually, you don't have physical therapy for that. They always had an answer for everything that we asked for. So I called it a fake budget. It was fake to the poor. And that's what a lot of people have. Most people have a fake budget.
Yeah, most people that are disabled, they do, because it's like client. It is like climbing through a bunch of red tape to get anything accomplished. I'm going to a conference in October that is supposed to be the most major disability conference in the state of Ohio, and my waiver will pay for the conference fees. But they expect me. I just looked at prices for this hotel in October, and I said, I'm not spending the night there because it was going to cost me $361 for 2 nights. But you say that you want everybody with a disability to go there. Okay, if you want everybody with a disability to be included in this awesome conference that's going to take place in October, then not only should you pay for the conference fees, but you should also pay for the hotel and for any double staffing that may be needed. Because when you go to a hotel, I'm sorry, they're only so ADA friendly. You got to think about Hoyer lifts, and it's just all these things that money could really go for. And like you said, Medicaid is not going to pay for therapy unless they see your son or I jump out of a wheelchair by the end of 6 weeks. If it doesn't happen that way, we're not going to pay for it.
Yes. And yes. So that's hence why I want transparency in the budget. I want to know where the money actually goes, because if it's not going to you and it's not going to your direct support workers, then where is it going? Whose pocket is it going in? So that's so, I can go on, and just for like the sake of time, I just, I just went to another random page and then we can wrap up. But anybody can check out March of Dimes website. It's this quagmire rabbit hole of like shiny, beautiful pages. And they're all like just fluff pieces. I call it fluff, fluff, fluff. Nothing meaty, nothing substantial. It's all just like, numbers. This is Mom and Baby Action Network Virtual Summit. So this looks like an online conference that they did about the role of fathers in maternal and infant health equity. So they, on June 17, 2025, they had a 4-hour or 5-hour conference from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. saying that fathers are important to a family. Well, excuse me, no shit, Sherlock. I don't need 4 hours of a conference to say that fathers are important to a family. So it's like the significance of the fatherhood journey. Isn't that special? policy that prioritizes fatherhood. Okay. Yeah, you need fathers. I can summarize it up in one sentence. A father is important. The end. We need fathers. You don't need a friggin' conference on how important they are. They're important. Everybody knows that. So how much money was spent on this conference so they could say that they like provided some kind of education or whatever kind of nonsense? So anyway, and they lunch break, reflection. Anyway, it's total, it's nonsense.
It's absolute nonsense. And like I said, at the beginning of the show or throughout it, if anybody from March of Dimes wants to come on and say, no, this is what we do and this is how we do it, and here are some people, which you're probably going to pay those people to come say how great you are. So don't even waste your time. Honestly, I mean, I looked over this website you and I looked over, and I still don't know what they do. I mean, you've said you do a lot of wonderful things. Some things you can't absolutely do. And I don't even know if an agency like this who spends all their money on their leadership should be tax exempt.
Well, they are. Yep. They're designated as a nonprofit, so they don't pay taxes. $107 million they get in fundraising, donations, and grants. And they don't pay taxes. And they have very generous pension, salaries, and they spend a lot of money. Their shiny website and social media. And also I did tag them when I put on my social media my analysis that I've just presented to you. I tagged them. They did not respond. So I guess they're not that interested in, answering to people who are actually affected by adverse maternal fetal outcomes, such as myself. They have no interest. So.
Well, and they probably won't respond to the show either. But what I really hope is that, people who watch and listen to the show today will start to say, hey, is my son or daughter who are disabled, or is my mother or father who is disabled getting everything that they need to get out of their services? And, folks, you might have heard Julie use the word entertainment several times. We deserve to be, as people with disabilities, we deserve to be somewhat entertained. We deserve to have vacations too. And for those of you that say, well, Medicaid shouldn't pay for that. Well, okay, well then Medicaid shouldn't also pay for the case managers' big salaries either. And for the superintendents and for the leadership and for their big salaries either, because I just had a conversation with another DSP about how, the frontline workers make so little money, but the agency department heads are living high on the hog while the caregivers are struggling to make ends meet. And it shouldn't be that way.
No. Amen. I agree. Preaching to the choir. Yes. Yeah, I agree. I am a fierce advocate for the individual and for the direct support worker. They deserve all the glory. They have the hardest job. The whole salary tier should be flipped upside down. The individual and the direct support worker get the majority of the Medicaid money. And then it can trickle down from there to the person that hires the direct support person, to the agency, whatever, coordinator, to the person above that. So if whatever the salaries are, when I get that document, an easy solution is we're just going to reverse everything, turn the piece of paper upside down, and that's how the money should flow.
Yeah.
I'm not an accountant, but that's, my suggestion. And I think that is a fair solution.
Yeah. Well, thanks for bringing this up. I really, this is a unique episode for me. I've never, in all the episodes that we've done over 50 now. I've never done an episode like this. And honestly, I hope to do more because this is what speaking up, speaking out, and speaking loud is all about, is making sure that we stop putting people with disabilities at the back of the class and bringing them to the front and bringing the people who help them to the front. Stop paying. I'm sure March of Dimes isn't the only agency paying their top leadership buku money. I'm sure it's happening at the county boards and the state Medicaid directors and, all this other stuff. And then you turn around to somebody like me who wants, or who doesn't really want, but who needs 24-hour care in order to live everyday life. And I do get 24-hour care, and I'm very happy for it. But you wouldn't believe the hell that I fought to get it. Just because you have $500,000 a year, Nick, doesn't mean we spend it. Okay, well then stop making me eligible for that type of money if you're only going to allow me to spend $150,000 or to $200,000. Because if $500,000 is what the state says that I'm eligible for, or your individual's eligible for, then every dime of that money should be used in some way to better the life of the physically or mentally disabled individual.
Agreed. And that's what we call a fake budget. Fake budget. You have a fake $500,000 budget. It's not actual there. I wouldn't let you spend it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very happy with the team that I have now who helps me with my caregiving, getting ready to go on my second road trip for the year 2025. I'm looking forward to it. Having a third road trip possibly. And it's because I have a great agency. How much more could the great agency do if they had more waiver dollars? If these county boards, here in the state of Ohio, our system is ran by 88 county boards. And if these county boards wouldn't pay their leadership so much, how much more people could be served with developmental disabilities? And I know I can say this because I was talking to my neighbor the other day who will eventually be on the program, and he said, Nick, the reason they don't tell you about all the services that are available is because the case manager, and I'll say allegedly because I'm on a public forum, but the case manager and the people who don't tell you about those services, at the end of the year, they get a bonus on their check. So I'll say allegedly, but I guarantee you that's probably true.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you.
So let's start calling out these agencies and everybody who's worried about you're going to lose your Medicaid. Yeah, you're going to lose your Medicaid if it keeps going to people that don't deserve it. These illegal immigrants and these people that are just making babies so that they can get more benefits, ridiculous. And it does happen that way. And by the way, you did an awesome post on your Facebook page about how you believe Medicaid needs to be cut from square one. It does. It needs to go back to square one. I mean, honestly, because you're a medical professional, Julia. I mean, you probably don't get paid a lot for Medicaid, which is why a lot of doctors don't take it.
I don't take Medicaid because it doesn't pay. So that's a completely different podcast, Nicholas. Like why, doctors don't take Medicaid. It's really, and as an individual, you can't get a doctor's appointment with a doctor because there's these big, long, wait times. It's a whole different podcast. The system is broken. That's why I said,
yeah,
take it down, build it up again.
Yeah, I mean, but this is, I mean, yeah, it is a totally different podcast, but we are talking about March of Dimes and how other agencies, and we are questioning how other government funded agencies that help people with disabilities are spending their money. And from what we've seen from March of Dimes on this Tuesday morning is that they've done literally nothing since 1938.
Yeah.
They may have done something within the first decade, but
Yeah. I mean, just to like, like they did have some accomplishments like many decades ago. They were focused on vaccines and eradicating infectious diseases like polio. So I'll give them that credit. But then after all the vaccines were in place and they achieved that mission, they were kind of like an organization without a cause. And then after 2000, that's when they tried to tackle maternal fetal health, which they have been doing now for 25 years. And the statistics have not improved. So they're a very rich organization, but they have not made an impact. So yeah, the numbers speak for themselves, and I'm with you.
yeah, I mean, and the reason why I agreed to do this show is because I want this to start a conversation with people with disabilities, with government agencies who say they serve people with disabilities and they want the best for us. I want them to say, how are we really spending our money?
Mhm.
We need to stop saying things like, we need to be fiscally responsible. Okay, case managers, quit telling me that. And then if you want to continue to tell me that, go home and look at your own budget and tell me how fiscally responsible you are. And then tell me, but we need to be fiscally responsible with your budget.
Yeah, no, I agree. I hope that every individual and every parent and everyone just, you know, becomes feisty and sassy like you or like me, like I used to be like very like nice and compliant with all of our, like support coordinators. And now I think I'm traumatized by all of them. And now I question and I fight for everything. Yeah.
Yeah, now they're traumatized by you because they're like, oh shit, he wants me to do my job. I was told I was in a meeting with one of my team members the other day, and I made a joke and I was like, yeah, I'm my caregiver's favorite client. And they looked at me and they said, you're everyone's favorite, Nick. And I said, no, I'm not, because my county board doesn't like me. And they said, well, it's not that they don't like you, it's just that you're very demanding at what you do, at how you. And I'm like, demanding? If I was I mean,
Demanding. You just want your basic human, dignity and rights that anybody deserves. That's not demanding.
yeah.
So,
Well, and he was like, by demanding, I mean, you want us to do our job and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, it's annoying and, all that type of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, and I will continue to be that way. And now, more fuel for me has finally been given, which I will say most of the people that run the state system here in Ohio, they know me. They listen to my podcast. I was just at an event the other day, and we had a retirement party for the director of disability services. And everyone came up to me there and they're like, oh, we listen to your podcast. I listen to while I drive, and it's such a great podcast. Well, I hope you still find that great when I start calling people out, because I'm not afraid.
you keep going, Nicholas. I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, Julia, it's been fun. Thank you for being here on this episode of Nick Speaks. And I hope this encourages everybody to start asking questions. Hey, where is my budget going, and what services are actually available to me? What services do I not know about because you guys want to save money because you say we need to be fiscally responsible? And I agree with being fiscally responsible. Okay, you know what being fiscally responsible is, in my opinion? If you have a budget of $500,000 and at least half of that is not, and at least if half of that is not gone by the end of the fiscal year, then what are you doing
Yeah.
with the money? because that's not being fiscally responsible because the money's not being used.
Yeah. Yeah. Pay your direct support workers more.
Exactly. And we do a pretty good job of that in Ohio. I think now it's up to 18 and it's supposed to go up every year for a little bit. We have a new governor coming in. We don't know who it is yet, but I mean, yeah, let's, whatever, guys. We just need to speak on these things because it's ridiculous that people are getting paid salaries of $439,000 when you could be helping these premature babies get an easier start to life a little bit, by paying for their medical care. Or how about this? Pay for the mom and dad to go have a break while you pay for their baby to be cared for when they go on a weekend trip. I don't know. There's just so many things you could do. So, yeah. Well, thanks for being
So
here.
much.
Huh?
Thank you for having me on. Thank you for the opportunity, and I appreciate your advocacy and your podcast.
Well, thank you so much for coming back on and sharing this with me. And like I said, if anyone from March of Dimes wants to come on and explain what they do and do a kind of a rebuttal or explain your agency, you're more than welcome to do so. You can email me at nickspeaksofficial@gmail.com. Guys, thanks for joining me on this episode of Nick Speaks, a podcast dedicated to the disabled community where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud about the issues that matter to the disabled the most. Thank you again for joining me. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.